Hi, everyone, and welcome to Online Biology. So, this is going to be a quick introduction video over both lecture, which is Bio 112, and lab. And this introduction video is meant to be a quick little introductory. This is how you navigate the class tool. If you have any specific questions ever, please do not hesitate to email me. Notice that I don't have Blackboard messages. I have turned it off. I like to use email when communicating with you guys one-on-one. So please send me an email and I'll show you where you can find that information. I've got it spread through multiple different areas, Blackboard, the syllabus, everywhere else. So you shouldn't have any trouble reaching me. I always respond within 2 business days. So yeah, I'm going to get into that a little bit, but if you email me throughout the week, you are guaranteed a way faster response than if you email me last minute on a weekend when something is due. So anyways, let's just jump right into it. So when you get into our class, so this one's 112 in Blackboard, it's going to look a little bit different. This is my instructor view. Your student view is going to be a little different, but it's going to look pretty much the same as this. You have your student help and reference tab. If you click on this, you get a drop down and a lot of different helpful tools getting started in your Blackboard course, technology guide. Click on this, especially if you are unsure whether or not, you have a computer or laptop that's going to be supported. That's going to support Blackboard and McGraw-Hill Connect that we use here. Online Netiquette, using AI. You're not going to really have an opportunity here except for during our pedigree assignment, but the use of AI, don't do it in this class. It's very obvious, especially for the pedigree assignment. We'll get into that. Tutoring services, bookstore, online information. Just read through any of these should you need any sort of extra help. The student help and reference tab is very informative. All right, course information. So this is where you can kind of see our course overview, the competencies that we're going to hit, and what topic modules that we're going to go over throughout this semester. So this is a little bit of an update, which is cool. You can click through here to go through all of the little sections in this drop-down menu, or you can click on them one by one. Intro video right now is hidden. It's because I'm recording it, and once it's updated, you're going to have access. Obviously, you've made it here if you're watching this video. But my information can be found right here. So my name's Andrea Sharpenstein. Here is my email. Copy and paste that into Outlook. If you need to, if you type in my name, my email should pop up. So remember, email. Do not send me a Blackboard message. Course syllabus is right here. We'll dig into that here in a second. But I also have another tab that's straight copied and pasted from the course syllabus called Course Assignments and Due Dates. This is our weekly schedule, everything that is required of you every single week this semester. And then we have our course grading policy. Notice that if you're within half a percentage point of your next letter grade at the end of the semester, you will get bumped up. Anything else, you will not get bumped up to the next letter grade. But let's get into our course syllabus. Okay, so here is our syllabus. So this is for lecture Bio 112. 3 credits. Here's my information again. Another spot where you can find my email. It kind of goes over our structure. So it's online lecture class only. Your required textbook and materials should have already been deducted from your tuition. So you will have online access for Connect through our Blackboard class. So all of the links that I've set up should take you directly there. If you have any trouble with that, please shoot me an email. That being said, make sure when you are accessing McGraw-Hill Connect, our publisher content through Blackboard, that you are clearing out your internet search history. Connect, if you have too many cookies or you haven't cleared your cache out in a while, it will have trouble loading, different. It'll just have, in general, trouble loading. Sometimes students will have difficulty seeing the videos, for example, or the animations. Sometimes the question itself won't load because it has, different interactive tools. And that just comes from cookies just, downloading onto your computer, preventing program functions to work like they're supposed to, right? So if you're in Google Chrome, which I suggest using for this course, and you hit the control button and you hit H, your entire internet search history pops up. Clear it out, choose the clear out from all time option, and you shouldn't have any trouble accessing any of the Connect tools. Technology statement here, there's another technology statement in that student help and reference tab that you can read through, and another spot that explains the different course competencies that this class is going to look at. Online workplace ethics agreement, so read through this, be punctual, be present, participate, make sure that you're completing your work by the due date. Late work is not allowed in this class. Pay attention to the withdrawal deadline. If something happens, you're not doing as well as you thought you would in this course, the midpoint of the semester starts approaching, the withdrawal deadline starts approaching, really think about whether or not, it would be more beneficial to take this class at a later date so that you can withdraw with a W. If you don't, by the withdrawal deadline after the midpoint of the term, a failing grade will be issued on your transcript instead of that W from withdrawing from the course. So I'll send, reminders of any important dates coming up as well, so you won't miss that information. Another workplace ethics agreement I wanted to talk about is professional conduct. So when you're emailing me, don't email me like we're texting, okay? Use this as practice for professional email etiquette. And that's all I'm going to say about that. This is college, and we are going to send respectful emails and not email each other like we are chatting in a group chat, right? Important dates, if you click on this link, it'll take you to the academic calendar, so you can see a list of important dates that are going to happen this semester. And then I talked about the withdrawal policy just now. Let's see. Inquiries and other class concerns. You can read through there. Dr. Jennifer Shoemake is our dean. Freedom from retaliation, student discrimination grievance procedures. You can read through those. I won't read through them too much, but Dr. David Travis is the point there. All right, if you do need any accommodations for this class, whether it's extra time on tests or anything, you have to go through accessibility services. I cannot provide those to you directly. You have to let them know, give them a call, give them an email, and they will email me with any accommodations that you need, and I'll make sure to accommodate, right? The only timed test in both lecture and lab is going to be the final. The final is 150 points, and it is a 2-hour timed exam. Nothing else will have a time limit associated with it. Don't plagiarize, don't cheat, don't use AI to do your work for you. I know that everybody's got AI right now. Everybody's got that tool at your disposal. Use it as a tool. Don't use it to complete your work for you, because unfortunately it is quite obvious, and our detection tools will detect that. That was straight copied and pasted from whether it's Gemini, ChatGPT, etc., etc. We do have ways. FERPA guidelines, that basically means your parents can't email me to ask for your grades. I can only, speak directly with the student. You can read a little bit more there about that. I went over grades already. So this is pretty much how your grades are going to be broken down this semester. You'll have 4 quizzes. You'll have assignments to complete on Connect, a couple discussion board assignments, one at the beginning semester, one at the end, 10 points each. Syllabus quiz, that one is due very, very soon, so make sure you don't miss the deadline there or you will be dropped for non-attendance. Being dropped for non-attendance isn't bad. It doesn't stay on your transcript. It just erases the class, right? So typically, if you are dropped for non-attendance, I will not let you get into this class later. It's an 8-week course. It's pretty fast-paced, and there's a lot of content to cover in 8 weeks that, should this class be taken in 16 weeks, would be the same content, just spread out a little bit more evenly. And then the pedigree assignment is going to be worth 50 points. And I'll email you guys about that when we get closer there. This course does not require a proctored exam. Now remember, I told you the final exam is 2 hours in both lecture and lab. If you go into it and you haven't studied, it will take you the entire 2 hours. Once that 2-hour time limit has hit, the exam will auto-submit whether or not you're finished, and you're not going to be able to go back in and, try and complete it because your time's up, right? If the due date hits on any of these assignments, if you reach the due date, the assignment will auto-submit. You will not be able to get back into it later and complete it for points. So make sure that you're staying on top of work. Don't start it last minute. Don't start it, 5 minutes before it's due. So speaking of that, the Blackboard time zone. So depending on where you are, whether you're in the Eastern time zone or the Central time zone, that's how these due dates are going to show to you. So if you're in the Central time zone, you're going to notice that most of the items are going to be due Sunday at 10:59 p.m. CST, which is 11:59 p.m. Eastern time. So unless I state otherwise, that's pretty much going to be your due date for the first section of the class. The last couple weeks have Friday due dates, and that is because classwork ends Friday, the week before finals week, and then you must submit your final the Friday of finals week. Everything else will be due on Sundays, so you have the entire week to complete your work. Don't wait till last minute. I will not be reopening any of these assignments. The only time that I will reopen an assignment or extend the due date of an assignment is if it applies to the entire class, right? So if something crazy happens, like a big portion of Kentucky has lost power, these things have happened before. That is the only time that I will extend an assignment, and it'll be as a whole class policy and not on an individual basis. So please make sure that you are staying on top of your work. So this is a breakdown weekly of everything that you have. Make sure that you're paying attention to it. It's also available in Blackboard. You can see it on our weekly modules, and you can see it on that tab that I just showed you. Let's see. Let me go through my notes and see if there's anything I missed. No, looks like I talked about what I wanted to. Every week I'm going to email you guys reminders of what's due that week, of any important dates coming up. If you guys have any questions that I don't cover, questions about the content, please shoot me an email. I will respond to you relatively quickly throughout the week. Again, on weekends, you might get a delayed response. Okay, roster verification. Make sure that you complete your syllabus quiz by the due date. One final comprehensive exam at the end of the semester. It will be multiple choice. Fill in the blank. It'll be matching. It'll be pretty interactive, and it has a 2-hour time limit. So make sure you have that. Again, that's going to be one attempt. Quizzes are also going to be one attempt. So make sure that you are studying for the quizzes each week. Assignments in McGraw-Hill. Oh, that needs to be updated to 10:59 p.m. Central Standard Time unless stated otherwise. So that would be 11:59 p.m. Eastern time. Let's save that. Okay, so again, they are due when they are due and no extensions unless it's for the entire class. Pedigree assignment, you will have a chance to email me a rough draft so I can give you some feedback. Usually when students email me a rough draft, by the rough draft deadline, they tend to get almost all of the points that they need when it's time to submit the final draft. Discussion boards, again, you'll have 2. One in the beginning, one at the end. Late work's not accepted. Also, if this were in person, I wouldn't go backwards, right? The lecture would keep moving forward. So if I did a lecture last week, I'm not doing it again this week. Same as lab. If we did a lab in person last week, I'm not going to set that lab up again this week, right? You missed it. Move on to the next one. Email me with any questions. But you won't be able to redo it, right? So no late work again unless it applies to the whole class. Unfortunately, SkyCTC does not offer extra credit opportunities anymore. Withdrawal deadlines, you can read those. Again, we talked about it. And then Blackboard information here. Okay. This is the lab. Lab syllabus is pretty much the same. Each week you'll have a certain set of labs due. You'll have a couple discussion board posts. You'll have 4 quizzes. They're not proctored. And then again, you'll have a 150-point final exam. That'll be reminiscent of the quizzes, right? And same thing here. So I'm not going to go over these too much. But the virtual labs, especially, make sure that you're clearing out your internet search history because they will glitch and it won't be as user-friendly as you want it to be. So we'll look at virtual labs here in a second and show a little demonstration. Okay. And course assignments and due dates, and then course grading policy. All right, so this is the syllabus acknowledgement quiz, both in lecture and in lab. It looks the same. Make sure that you finish it. It is a quick true or false question, that you have received it, that you understand it, and you understand how your performance is going to be evaluated and how your final grade is going to be determined. Okay. Quick 10-point quiz. All right, so each week I have your due dates listed, so you shouldn't, fall behind or not know when something is due. You've got it in multiple different sources. And again, I'll be sending weekly reminders through announcement board posts. I'll post an announcement here and it'll also copy to your email. So yeah, everything's broken down pretty intuitively with the associated due dates. Again, everything's due 10:59 p.m. Central Standard Time, 11:59 p.m. Eastern Time. Okay, so if we were to drop this down, introduction discussion, you click this, do your introduction board post, and then every single week you'll have an overview of the chapter that we're doing, the lecture notes associated with it. What you see, chapter 1, the scientific study of life, chapter 2, the chemistry of life, those are links to the textbook, to the online textbook. The SmartBook assignment is the link to the homework assignment. So this will take you directly to the textbook chapter, and then this will take you directly to the SmartBook assignment, okay? So this is what you're going to be graded on. You can also access the textbook through the assignment, which I'll show you in a second. So overview, and tell you what we're doing that week. Lecture notes. So these are the lecture notes that I have recorded. You can watch them here. Here is as you go, fill in the blank note section. That's up to you whether or not you want to use. And then the PowerPoint, if you'd like to print it and take notes on it. And then we have a couple supplemental resources for you to watch. Okay. So these are all additional study materials. If you're a more visual learner, if you're somebody who likes to read the chapter book, then you can go into the chapter book here, read through that, and then you'll be ready for the SmartBook assignment. So let's pretend like I hit launch assignment. I've already got it up here. Oh no. All right, sorry about that. I let it time out. Okay, so once you're here, you'll see that this is your SmartBook assignment, chapter 1, scientific study of life. You can access the textbook by hitting start reading here. If you do that, it'll take you to the textbook. That's what that looks like. When you're done, you can hit 2 questions and then got it. All right. And then it'll take you to the questions that would have been on that right-hand side. So left-hand side of that start page takes you to the textbook. Right-hand side takes you to the SmartBook assignment. So you saw that this assignment should take about an hour and a half to finish. This is what it looks like. So all organisms are composed of one or more blank, the basic unit of life. So you would have to type in the answer, and then you would rate your confidence, high, medium, or low. So one or more cells, we're going to rate our confidence high, and we are correct. If you did not know the answer to that and you need help review these concept resources, you could clarify with AI Reader. You could read about the concept, or you can look at other assignment resources. And that would take you to a little guide. And then you can click specifically what you want to read about. And there you go, some notes. All right, but anyways, let's go back to the questions. All right, we got that question correct. We hit next question, and here's our next question. And that's pretty much how you work through these assignments. You have 60 concepts that we're gonna hit here, so these, might take a little bit of time, especially if you haven't prepared in advance. If you are somebody that learns as you go, you could read this, you could need help, you could read about the concept, it'll take you where you need to go, and you can go back to the questions. That is going to take a whole lot longer. But that's what our weekly assignments look like. And you'll have multiple assignments weekly. It is an 8-week course, so it is a little bit heavy every week in terms of content. Okay. Exit assignment. All right. And that's what that looks like. That's what you've got every week. Week 2, you'll have same thing. Chapter 3, you'll have an overview, lecture notes, the reading, and the assignment. And then you'll have a quiz. 4 quizzes throughout the semester. Okay. So now let's look at our lab. So welcome to lab. Same idea. I'm not going to go over it very specifically. Each week you'll have additional notes. So you'll have a module overview. And you'll have some reading. If you think you don't need the reading or you don't need any background information, you'll also have a Watch This tab that provides you with some background information. You can go directly into the labs. So week 1, you've got virtual labs, lab safety, scientific method, and then metric measurements, length, temperature, and volume. So that's quite a few labs. Make sure you really use your time wisely, especially if you are taking 112 and 113 in the bi-term, because every week it's going to be, the material is going to be pretty heavy, right? So we get into virtual labs. So every time you open up a lab, you'll have a key concepts section, an overview section, and information that you need to know before you begin. So key concepts, it's going to tell you what is going to be covered in each simulation. Your overview is going to be pretty much the not step-by-step specifically, but the guide to what you're going to be doing in the lab. And then before you begin, that's going to have some extra information about things that you need to know, whether it's keywords, definitions, images, a how-to guide, etc. All right, so something about virtual labs. If you do not go step by step exactly as directed, it might take you forever to get to phase 2. So this is phase 1. you have to go step by step for this to work. So use next button, cycle through, and review descriptions of screen areas. So hit next. Back button exits the current simulation. All right, so next, next, next. This just tells you what everything is. Okay, there we go. You've completed step 1. Step 2, select accessibility and keyboard shortcuts button in upper right corner. So if you did not select this little key in the upper right corner and you hit feedback or you hit submit, which we're not going to do, no, or you hit anything else, you will not be able to move on to the next part of this and you will never reach phase 2. So you have to really read everything very specifically so that you can move on from section to section. So we did that. We hit the accessibility keys. You can read through all of those, different shortcut commands, and you can reach this little accessibility and keyboard shortcut guide in every single one of these labs. But it can get pretty dicey. So the next one says select methods. Next one says hit reset. Select go to phase 2 in order to demonstrate attempting to move on before current phase is complete. It won't let you. Step 6, 7, 8 were not complete correctly. So now we have to go back and see what did we not complete. Okay, we didn't select my notes. Okay, so we have to make sure that we select that. Select lab data. Select show labels from toolbar. Perfect. And now let's try and hit go to phase 2. Excellent. So once you finish every single step, like the program wants you to complete it, you will not be able to move on to the next phase. So for example, here, click on H2O2 dropper to pick it up. If you try to click on anywhere else other than where the program wants you to click, you won't be able to complete the simulation, right? So click on the bottle of H2O2 to return the dropper. You're gonna have to do this a lot. So you will not be able to move on unless, whoopsie, look what we did. We accidentally clicked somewhere else and didn't put the dropper back like we were supposed to, which unfortunately I think I did, and a question popped up. But anyways, this lab simulation is going to be pretty interactive. Select zoom in, select lab data, and then you would hit the volume of bubbles. So 5 to 10, we'll say 5 milliliters. Uh-oh. So 0. Oh my goodness. All right, so I'm having technical difficulties here. There we go. 5. From 5 ml to 10 ml. Anyways, you can see how this can be relatively you got to go step by step, or you'll never be able to go on to next phase. So because we did all of those, we added the 4 mLs, we hit zoom in, and we recorded the amount of bubbles. It let us go on to the next phase. But that's pretty much how you navigate all of these lab simulations. Virtual lab tutorial is here for you to get accustomed to that. Do it a couple times if you need to get comfortable with it. But the labs you can do as many times as you want to until you get the desired grade up until the due date. Same with the SmartBook assignments. You can do them a million times, but once the due date hits, you cannot do them anymore. Your best grade is going to be the grade that transfers over to Blackboard. And I think that's all that I wanted to talk about. Yeah. So if you do have any questions after watching this intro video, which I know I said was going to be a quick one, and here we are hitting the 30-minute mark, please send me an email. All right. That's it. Without further ado, welcome to the spring semester, or fall if you're taking this in fall. But welcome to Bio 112. Bio 113. I look forward to having a great semester with you guys.